Hello, welcome again to our year 3 and new Envision community platform webinar. So my name is Mongshi Kang. I will be the lead facilitator for today's webinar. So while on call today, we do have a small list of agreements to ensure that we can collectively build a welcoming and brave space. Much of today's webinar will be content delivery, So we do ask that you stay on mute and post questions in the chat box. The chat will function as your primary point of connection today. We do encourage you all to use it frequently and treat fellow attendees with dignity and respect while doing so. We will have a brief Q&A section at the end of today's webinar. And one last kind reminder for you all to do what you need to do to take care of yourself. So today's agenda is going to be, we're going to share a little bit about Envision and some Envision news. And then we'll go over our objectives and then offer our primary content today. And then we'll have polls and wrap up at the end. Again, who is Envision? So as many of you all know, we are, Envision is, supports the CDC funded program, CHWs for COVID response and resilient community. So CCR. And if you want to learn a little bit more about who we are, you could go into our listserv and our mailing and our website. And then we also have a comment section on our page on our website that you could come and also chat with us if you want to learn a little bit more about who we are. And then Caitlin, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so the URL on all of these links will be dropped into the chat right now. So if you're interested, please click on those links. So Envision News. So we will be at Unity next week. So we hope for you all to stop by our booths. Our booth number is 121 to just stop by and say hi to us. We really want to meet everyone. We do have some gifts and some raffle games that we will be introducing and that we will have at our booth. So if you can and if you have time, please stop at our booth so we can all get to meet every one of you. So our objectives for today's webinar is to really build awareness of what Envision, our Envision Equity team, has to offer for everyone. And we will be introducing our new community platform, our resource page, and our calendar, and other new features that we have offered for everyone. So our Envision offerings, we have different types of Envision offerings. So for example, our webinar, like this one right now, is a type of offering that we have. We have the Envision website with our resource page and our community platform that's open to all. But then we do also have some Envision offerings that's only available to our CCR 2109 recipients. And we will go into specifics on those. So our offerings that we have open to anyone are our webinars like the one today. So webinars are spaces to share topical knowledge with community health workers, community health worker allies, and especially our 2109 recipients, our CCR 2109 recipients and their partners. We also have our community platform, which we will go into specifics later in this webinar. It was created in response to a rapid assessment and a CDC project officer feedback for CHWs and programs to engage in shared learning in real time. We also have our resources. So Envision provides capacity building resources on our website, and it is curated under 8 categories. And then we also have a one-stop shop calendar available. And then there's also space for the website users to submit in resources to be considered to add onto the website. So a lot of the community platform and the resource, Yasmin will go into specifics and details about that later in the webinar. And I'll pass this on over to Erin.
Thank you, Mungshi. Welcome, everybody. Again, I'm always so excited to have everybody in the space. I am going to be talking to my CCR 2109 recipients. Those of you on the call, I got a little something for you in a second as well. But these different offerings that we have from Envision are specifically for CCR 2109. I just want to remind everybody what we offer, because I think some of you guys tapped in our resource, and we appreciate your love and your support and you really tapping into our knowledge. But some of you guys probably need a quick reminder of what resource you guys have at your fingertips. So with that being said, I want you guys to understand that we offer programmatic technical assistance to support your organization's success. That is what we're here for. So what it is framed with an equity lens, and it is centered in uplifting the expertise of individuals with lived experience, seasoned CHWs, and CHW allies. So just to give you the programmatic technical assistant, it really supports the success for our 2109 recipients. And it is also conducted in coordination with those lovely 2109 CCR project officers. Some of them are on the call today. Hey, y'all. So I just want you guys to know we are newly adding, which is something new, and we're so excited to also uplift that we are able to offer in-person technical assistance. Yes, I did say in-person. That means you might be able to see one of our faces in person with you upon request via AMP. And of course, we need to coordinate with your project officer, but that definitely gives you that hands-on in-person interaction, and those agendas and things of that nature can be created based upon your organization's needs. Now, y'all are probably like, what is programmatic technical assistance? What is that? So guess what? I'm going to tell you some topics. So some of the topics that we have are preparing your program for CHWs, recruiting and onboarding CHWs, professional development opportunities for CHWs and those supervisors as well. We also have supporting CHWs and CHW program implementation, and also sustaining our CHW programs. Yes, I said the key word, the word everybody's loving right now, sustainability. I know that is the buzzword everybody loves to hear. So yes, we absolutely help support that as well. So these are not only the areas we can help you with. I know everybody on the call that is a CCR 2109, you guys are all different phases, and we support your sustainability and your growth and your continued success. So if you think you need assistance, not if you know, but even if you think, please submit a TA request, coordinate with your project officer. We will do our best to support you in whatever area we possibly can. So those of you, now this is for my non-CCR, the people that are not CCR 2109 recipients. If you do not have access to the AMP system, or you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say AMP, please email us. We'll drop the email in the chat to maybe discuss your request further. We might have some offerings for you, but it would be a different kind of conversation, but we could definitely have that offline. We do not want to leave you all out either. Another thing we're offering, just to switch gears, is training. We've always offered training, but now we're offering in-person training or even virtual, depending on your organization, by request. So it is on a myriad of topics, and these requests, of course, need to be submitted through AMP, but many of our trainings have that train the trainer component added to really ensure that you can have your organization can have that continued professional development and sustainability within. So we definitely are elevating that just so you guys can keep the gift giving to your organization and making sure that you guys are definitely utilizing those different areas of development for you guys. So with that being said, some of the little things we've already conducted in-person training. I'm not going to shout out our recipient that has received it, but I'm so grateful to be able to have conducted that training. But it is effective communication and active listening skills we talked about. We did building trust and rapport with community members, having difficult conversations, and we also talked about setting boundaries. So yes, these were some of the topics that we talked about, but again, these are not all inclusive, and we can definitely have further conversations if you would like to. Also, just submit that through AMP, the TA request through AMP, and we can have those conversations started. Again, Those that are non-CCR 2109 recipients, if this is something that you're interested in, please email us. We can definitely try to have those conversations offline and see what we can service or offer to your organization. Last but not least, which is a great new offering. We haven't had this before. The others two we did offer, but this one is fairly new, and I'm so excited because it's coordinated by one of my close colleagues, Soledad Bolden. I know I called you out, I'm sorry. But yes, she's offering, not just her, but she's the lead on the virtual office hours offered by Envision. And this is a different set of support that we're providing to you all. During these drop-in sessions, I know you guys are familiar, most of you who have been in our Envision family for this time, you're familiar with our COPs, our webinars, and even others with our community of transformation. This is a little different. These are drop-in sessions that we actually created a space where recipients can really freely discuss any topic on their mind. They can seek guidance and ask questions. So it's kind of like those were in school, those of you who went to school, you know, the TA or the professor had those office hours. That's what we have set for you. We do have a scheduled time that is set out for you monthly. As of now, we did have one on July 20th, and it was very wonderful. But this is just really an opportunity that is specialized for those support sessions for our recipients to address any challenges, explore new ideas, and actually gain insights from our team and then others also that are on the call. We are there to really listen and guide and provide those resources really to promote your success. So whatever, even if you have questions on specific techniques, you might need assistance with the actual specific issue, or you really want to discuss their work as a CHW, a supervisor, or a program manager, they are really designated to cater to your needs. Our upcoming office hours will be in August, and that will be in regards to CHW workflow. It's August 31st. And we will be offering 2 sessions. So yes, we can cater to all of our CCR 2109 recipients, your schedules, because I know we are all across the country. So definitely don't want my West Coast family getting up at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning to do a virtual office hours. And I know you didn't have your coffee yet. So we definitely, a lot of those times for you, we could definitely drop our page for the office hours in there to give you more information and those specific times that we're offering. So you guys can choose and register when you guys want to go. So definitely we could drop that in, or we actually can contact your project officer for the registration link. And unfortunately, at this time, that is only offered to our CCR 2109 recipients. For those others that are on the call, we will definitely have time. You can always email us for support. So I definitely appreciate you all for listening for that. Mangshi, you ready for the next set?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Erin.
Awesome. You're very welcome.
So we also have more trainings available for our CCR 2109 recipients. So they are, one of them is the communities of practice, so COPs. They are spaces to foster peer-to-peer connections between community health workers and community health worker allies and build community. So it's more of a discussion based training where you could learn from your peers and you could learn from other community health workers and community health worker allies and partners as well. And then we also have our specialized training, which are very similar to our webinars, but then it is different in a way that these are spaces to work on topical skill building and applying knowledge. So it's more of learning how to apply this, learning about the skills, and then learning how to apply that into your work. And then we also have communities of transformation, or better known as like COTs, which is a space for building relationships and aligning local and national efforts for sustaining the CHW workforce. With that, it is my pleasure to transition into the primary content for today's webinar, which is going to be about our website and our new offerings for everyone. And I'm going to pass it on to John.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm John Burton. I am with Kinetic Health, but I am part of the Envision support team, and I head up the branding, marketing, communications, part of what Envision does. And I'm excited to be able to kick off this portion and introduce the version 2.0 of our website. We put up initially the website I'll share my screen, in October of last year. And that was just a starting point for us. But from the very beginning, there has been a vision on our part of what a CHW-focused website, platform, resource center, and community could be. So we've been working hard on this from day one, but even more so since October, when the website that most of you are hopefully familiar with has been placed up there. What I want to do before we get into the major portions, which are the resource library and community platform, is show you some of the other changes and offerings that we have on the website. Most noticeably, we've done some upgrades to the design and streamlined it and the user experience. So all of you hopefully have a easier and more enjoyable time finding what it is you're looking for on the Envision website. The introduction of video is on all the main pages. Those main pages are the ones at the top menu here. The secondary pages, which are below or subsets of, for example, training, we have communities of transformation, communities of practice, and the webinars are just a little simpler in their design, but that's because you are at that point more into the content that you're looking for. The first page that I want to highlight is our calendar. You can access it at any time from the top menu, or we have these jump points on the home page, which still we're presenting webinars because we know that's what many of you are really looking for when you show up here. The calendar and then the resource library, which we'll be getting to next. The calendar is essentially a listing of events both by Envision and by other groups that we partner with or whose mission that we support. And there are two ways you can view the calendar. This is the event view, and you have two tabs here. One is event and one is calendar view. The event view presents it just as you're seeing here, a grid. The calendar view goes to an actual calendar format. July, we didn't populate so much because we knew we wouldn't be looking at this to the end of July. But if we go, for instance, to August, you can see the different events and how they appear on the calendar view. All the Envision events are highlighted with our brand colors and the simple icons that we are using to promote the different offerings that we have: trainings, community of transformation, community of practice. Other events by partner organizations or the ones we support are usually shown with their logo or some sort of badge that identifies them. When you roll over the events either in the calendar or come to the event view, there's more information given, and when appropriate or necessary, there are links to go to a registration page or more information. For example, here, Unity. The Unity conference will take you right to the registration page, which you have 6 days and 18 hours left to register if you're going to attend. The other events are similar to that, with links to registration pages and more information if that's the case. Likewise, with the Envision events like the webinars, there will always be a link to the registration page for the webinar and more information on that. What we'll be doing is continually updating this by mining the AMP calendar, our own calendar of events we're hosting, those of our partner organizations, and any that you might have or know of that you want to suggest and add to our calendar. So we've also implemented a submit event form. It's here at the top of the calendar page. And you're presented with a simple form to fill out some information about an event that you know about or are going to attend or even hosting and would like help promoting. The only thing that we ask for or is required is your email address so that we can get in touch with you if there's any information that we might need or that is missing from the event itself. We're asking for a brief description, a link, and whether it's a webinar, a conference, an in-person meeting, etc. So we encourage you to use that and use us to help CHWs nationwide know about events in their area or ones that are happening on a more national basis. The other page that I would like to highlight is our updated team page. What we've done on the team page is first present a map of the United States to show where the members of the Envision team are spread out around the country. As you see, we're pretty much representing all areas. Thank Essie for holding down the greater Midwest out there, but everybody else is hugging their respective coastlines and southern regions. We still have the organizations that we all are part of that come together to form Envision, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, Match, CSHA, LSU, Health, and in Kinetic Health. You can view those teams with these icons, but we're also presenting our teams via the functions that they have within Envision. Our leadership, our CHW leadership and council, our training team, our evaluation team, technical assistance or CCR support, and our support team. Another thing we've done is we are elevating the CHWs of our team by applying an icon or badge to their photos, as you can see here in the training team. So as you go through and acquaint yourself with these wonderful people that form Envision and that I'm really fortunate to be working with, you can tell right away who our CHWs are, or the CHWs are on our team. And we are happy to support them in all that they do and in all that you do. Lastly, before we move on, I want to highlight something that has been on our website for a little while, but needs more attention, and that is the comment page that was brought up by Mangshi earlier. And this is a page that our in-house evaluation team has put together, asking some basic questions about our offerings and how they are being received by you, our audience, and how they have changed the way you work or the way you interact with other organizations. And essentially, how is it that our work is helping you in what you do? Now, you can come, you don't have to answer all of these, you can answer one of them, or you can choose to use the bottom part just as an open comment field if you want to praise us, if you want to point out something that we've overlooked, if there's something you feel that we could be offering that might be helpful to you or your organization. It's an easy form to fill, and it goes directly to our evaluation team, who then takes this information and brings it to the greater team as a whole, and we use it to improve the offerings that we will continue to bring forward you in year 3. And with that, it's a perfect segue back to Caitlin, and then also handing it off to Yasmin to take over and highlight our resource library. Take it away, Yasmin.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name's Yasmin. I'm the Envision Resource Coordinator, and I would really love to walk you through and introduce you to our new resource page on the Envision website. So I'm going to give you a guided tour and a demo. A little background before we start. As part of our work to help CCR 2109 funded organizations build capacity in the development of their CHW programs, we provided resources in a variety of formats. And in the past, we've been using AMP, which is the awards management platform, the CCR 2109 portal, to share resources with folks. But last year, we began to develop and launch our own public-facing website that would not only serve CCR recipients, but the general public as well that is interested in the CHW workforce. So this is a really exciting equity tool that we're adding to our toolkit. And today is the official launch of the resource page. So I'm going to share some more in-depth information about the library and how to use it. So a few things to note. All the resources in our library are curated by and for CHWs. So this includes a vetting process where a CHW assesses each resource individually and determines that it's timely and useful for CHWs in the field, as well as CHW program staff looking to implement best practices. We've also been really careful to choose accessible resources that don't rely on jargon or academic language to relay information. And I'll talk about this in a little bit, but we also provide resources in a variety of formats as well. And then we really wanted to be strategic about our database because we wanted it to not reinvent the wheel or recreate work that's already been done, but really be a complement to existing databases by pillar organizations like NACHWA or the Core Consensus Project. So we linked out to those databases on our site as well. And then we worked really hard ourselves to think about how our database fits within that context. And, just provides another layer of resources. And like I said, we view this database as another equity tool in our tool belt because it expands beyond the CCR community to reach more CHWs and CHW programs. And it's really a part of our sustainability work thinking towards the future. And over the past year, I've been working with my Envision colleagues to compile resources into an organized internal database that's divided into 8 categories, determined by lots of feedback that we've received by CCR recipients. So you can see here, advocacy, chronic health conditions, community building, COVID-19, health equity, population-specific, program implementation, and sustainability. As a whole, this was definitely a team effort by Envision, and there's many people to thank in their efforts in building out the framework that we'll be reviewing shortly. I also want to note that this is an iterative process and we have more to come. We are going to continue to add resources all the time. And we also have some other types of resources coming soon. For example, I've been doing a lot of research myself on different specialty trainings, like for example, diabetes trainings for CHWs. And we're going to have a big database of those that folks can go and see the research, see what they're about, and contact if they think that it might be a good fit for their CHWs. So lots of exciting stuff happening in this space. So definitely keep updated and check back frequently. So I kind of mentioned this before, but we definitely wanted to include resources in a variety of different modalities because we all learn in different ways, right? So we definitely wanted to include not only things like PDFs and read-only documents, but videos and podcasts. So our hope is really that everybody will be able to access resources and use resources within a context that works for their own needs and learning styles. And I wanted to share a couple examples. So one of them is a toolkit from the Center for Community Health Alignment. And CCHA, as we like to call it, is also an Envision organization doing incredible CHW work. And this toolkit was developed by CHWs and outlines best practices for developing CHW programs and working with CHWs. And my next example is the Hope and Healing podcast. So this is a resource I chose as an example for 2 reasons. Firstly, I wanted to show that it's a podcast. So it's another format of learning that we really wanted to include for our auditory learners. It's a really great equity tool to broaden the scope of what we're providing. And also because I really wanted to highlight that we are always working to speak to the CHR community. So this is created by tribal communities for CHRs to address their specific health challenges in their community. And we really want to continue to always uplift tribal nations and the work that CHRs are doing. So now I'm going to give you a visual representation of how the resource page works. We've made using the resource library easy and accessible. So when you first land on the page, you'll see available resources displayed from newest to oldest. The page only shows the 10 newest at first. And if you want to see more, you click the Load More button near the bottom. You can search or access resources in a couple of different ways. One way is to use the category buttons to filter what you're looking for. And I think we need a second to get back on our screen share because we really want to make sure that y'all can see and walk through this. Thank you, Caitlin. So again, when you first land on the page, you're going to see the available resources displayed from newest to oldest. And the page only shows the 10 newest at first. And if you want to see more, you can click the Load More button at the bottom. You can search or access resources in a couple of different ways. One is to use the category buttons to filter what you're looking for. So we included all the 8 categories as different color-coded buttons. As you'll see, the buttons turn to red when you roll over them. And this shows that that's the active resource. So lots of visual cues to make sure that you stay organized and know where you're at. To filter or search by a category, you click on one of the buttons. So for example, advocacy, and you'll see that all resources that are tagged advocacy are displayed. And you can also see that the buttons turn white, meaning that it's on or the filter is active. So advocacy is currently white. And we also have color coded all of those resources orange. To start a new search, first unclick the button you just used. So you're done with advocacy, click that button, and then click on a new category to display a different set of resources. So now we're in chronic health conditions. Another search function is using the text entry toolbar. You can search by keyword. So we attach tags to all the resources beyond the category. So for example, it might be a resource on long COVID. So if you type in long COVID, it'll come up. And you'll see all those related resources. So that's another great way to find what you're looking for if it's something more specific than just the categories that we have. You can also search by media type. So for example, if you like PDFs, you can type in PDF and every resource that's a PDF will come up. And you can do that for videos or podcasts or whatever you're looking for. So that's another way. And let's say you want a very specific thing within a category, like you want PDFs for community building, you can search for that as well. We should also note that each resource image has an icon in the upper right corner. So you'll see a little white icon on top of every resource, and that lets you know what kind of resource it is. So there are 11 media types currently available. And I think right now you can see toolkit, article, website, training. So definitely lots of different ways that you can identify what a resource is before you even click on it, which is a really great time saver. Further down on the page, you're going to find access to the other resource libraries that I mentioned. So you can click out to NACHWA, to C3. You can go to the Envision webinars page, Vaccine Equity Cooperative. So again, go check all of those out because these are all the pillar resource databases that we've identified that go alongside ours. So if you haven't popped into those, definitely do. C3 did a webinar for us in June and shared a lot of their resources from their resource library. And if you were in that webinar and still curious and lost those resources, you can just click on that and it'll take you straight there. So another really great way to explore CHW resources. And then another feature is the ability to share resources with us for consideration on the page. So you can actually click that submit button or submit a resource and share key capacity building resources with us. And our team at CHW will go through, look at it, consider it, and if it seems like a great fit, it'll be put up on the website. So it's a great way to continue to share with us. Not everything comes our way. So definitely a collaborative process to make sure we get everything that we need. So that really covers how to use our resource page. I really hope you found that tour useful. It's a super visual process. So go in, click around and explore and see what you find. We're super proud of this. So yeah, good job team. And we hope to hear a lot of feedback about how y'all are using it. So I'm now going to pass the mic to my colleague, Monique, and Monique is going to talk about the community platform.
All right. Hello all. It is time. So now we will talk about the platform. So I am Monique Allen, CHW and the Envision Community of Practice Lead, and I am super excited to introduce my Envision to you all. So what is my Envision? It is a social community platform that we've set up to launch today. And that will be launched in a few moments. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about what to expect and what you'll see inside. And why is it called My Envision? Because it's your space. You set this up any way that you need to engage the way that suits you best. Next slide. So my Envision has been a main goal of the Envision team since the very beginning, like John mentioned, creating a new format to engage with Envision and the CHW workforce. So it's a space for CHWs to use for peer-to-peer learning, for collaboration, networking, and getting to know one another. Okay, so we wanted to create that space that was dedicated to exploring the CHW related topics and to build community with CHWs and CHW allies. So we have done that, and you're about to be invited. Next slide. So My Envision is a destination of its own. It's not a part of the Envision website. And it's used by the Mighty Network platform system. So it's a public-facing platform where the space is specifically for CHWs, CHW allies, and 2109 recipients. The Envision team hosts and moderates the community, but it is powered and motivated by its members. So, which are all of you, and you make that community. So this is for you and powered by you all. Now we will go inside and take a look around. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the My Envision landing page, and this is what you'll see when you request to join, and you'll see a request to join there. It outlines what My Envision is, and it includes our guidelines, which we will go through in a moment. Next slide. So My Envision is set up very similar to social media communities and platforms. So many of you already are familiar with similar systems, so you should be able to jump on in and get going. But My Envision is made of separate spaces. So we're going to show you each space, and then you can see where you would like to join. So next slide. So here, the Envision community space, everyone is automatically joined in this Envision community space. This is the all-inclusive space that everyone has access to. The other 3 spaces are set as private, meaning you need to request entry and be allowed in by the Envision team, the host and the moderators. We have done this to allow each of the spaces to be used by members from those respective communities. So you can go in there and then, but then you can also, everyone is in that larger community space. Next slide, please. So the CHW space, our community we have there, this fosters easier open communication about any topics or issues that are CHW related. Next slide. This here, we have our CHW ally space. So that's for all of you that want to support this great work and support CHWs, that is your space. And then next slide. And here we have our 2109 recipient space. This space is for those organizations working directly funded by CCR 2009 recipients. Next slide. And then our events. So here's where an Envision hosts and My Envision members can post events that may be of interest. And I did see some in the chat speaking about Unity and CHW Awareness Week. So yes, we can definitely add that in there. That is definitely something to add. So we encourage you to post CHW related events that you might know about. Next slide, please. The other space, the other spaces are your feed, which you set up any way you like. You have a members directory and your chat function there. Next slide. And we are mobile. So if you would like to, you can also download the mobile app, and it will help you keep in touch with My Envision wherever you are. And we can go to the next slide. So that was our little tour. Before we're moving on to joining, let's meet the host of My Envision. So these here that you see up, these are the team members of the Envision team that will be monitoring each of the spaces. They will be the ones who will be assisting you if you need anything, And we're going to take a moment, and everyone will take a moment to introduce themselves and give you a bit about their story. And so I will start with a bit of mine, and then I will pass it to Caitlin. So again, Monique Allen. I have been a community health worker for about 20 years. And my main focus was working in the deaf and hard of hearing community. So I have taught sign language for 20 years in the community college setting. And I also had a background working with children and adults with disabilities, also supervised visitation monitor and early intervention with kiddos and helping with communication. And learning the needs of the deaf and hard of hearing community just pushed me to really think about the needs. So I opened a gym and created a nonprofit for the deaf and hard of hearing community and underserved populations. Due to the pandemic, I had to close and readjust. So I went back to school and joined a CHW program. And just my previous employment, all my experience, it was just perfect for that CHW field. So I definitely registered and went to school for that. Once graduating, I was actually on a NACHWA webinar, I believe, and I saw a post from someone from Envision, and it was a job opening. And I had seen the Envision team present and do webinars before, and the passion for CHW work in the community just came through the screen. So I had to apply and here I am. So it is definitely an honor to be here and presenting and being a moderator on this community platform, because this is exactly what I needed when I graduated my CHW program. I needed a space to go to learn about the opportunities, just different associations, coalitions, movements, what's happening in the work. So I definitely look forward to sharing and hearing from all of you in the platform. And with that, I will pass to Caitlin.
Thank you, Monique. Hello all, I'm Caitlin. I'll be your host for the General Envision Community Group, and I'll also be the point person for any technology or functionality questions that you might have about my Envision. And you can definitely reach me with any questions with a direct message in the platform itself. I am the operations coordinator for Envision. I'm a CHW ally, and I'm one of the newest members of the team. Prior to this role, I didn't know that there was a name for community health work. I grew up surrounded by a family full of nurses and public health teachers, and witnessed those family members go above and beyond their roles to provide necessary support to a variety of communities. So they were doing community health work. In particular, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and for many years, she lived and did community health work on the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. So I spent a lot of time visiting her and living with her there. And she was really the one that inspired me to pursue a role in public health. But I lacked the guts to work on the front lines. I don't do well with blood and things like that. So after graduating college, I became an engineer for a healthcare IT company to support the public health realm in a different sort of way. When I felt called to do less corporate and more community work, I left that IT role and eventually ended up here at Envision. And I can pass it over to John, who will be your CHW Ally community host and our beloved creator of the MindVision platform.
Thanks, Caitlin. You're kind. We are really thrilled to have Caitlin as part of our team. She has become such an asset in such a short period of time. So I just wanted to elevate her in front of you all. You would not be seeing, hearing, and participating today if it were not for her. So yay to Caitlin. As you know, I'm John. I'm with Kinetic Health, but part of the communication or support team doing the communications. I've been doing marketing and design for quite a while, and a few years ago teamed up with a couple of people that I work with for quite a while, and we formed Kinetic Health, which is a health-focused marketing agency. And we started doing a few years ago some work with an FQHC in Southwest Washington. We are located on the West Coast. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and we are also in Vancouver, Washington, which is just across the mighty Columbia River. So in doing that, we started working with some other organizations, and at some point crossed paths with our esteemed executive director, Sherry Oley, who unfortunately could not be here today. And she asked us to participate in putting together the NOFO, the Notice of Funding Opportunity, which led to the CCR funding, which led to the formation of Envision. And so we came on board, this is almost 3 years ago, to help the formation of Envision. And Sherry had the great foresight to recognize that she wanted us to present and appear differently than all the other groups that she has participated in or worked with. And so that's the result of her vision brought us in and leads us to this day, where we are in looking at this platform, this resource library, the website in general. So we are indebted to her for her vision and guidance through all of this. When I came on, I recognized that because of my upbringing and the privilege that I was ensconced in, that I had no idea what a CHW was. I had no need for one, and I feel fortunate for that. But in the last handful of years, coming to know what CHWs are and who they are and what they do has turned me into what I coined as my being a freshly minted and impassioned CHW ally. And I will take that with me until the end of my days, because of the work I see being done and the remarkable people who I've come to know in the last 3 years, particularly within Envision. And I am really honored and proud to not only help launch what we're doing today, but also participate as a host for the CHW Ally Space. And I look forward to meeting all you other allies from around the country in that space and sharing our stories and moving this forward and helping elevate our CHWs as a whole. So with that, I'd like to pass it. It was going to be to Toki, who is a member of our CHW Council, but it appears she could not join us today. But she is a host of the 2109 recipient space, as is Yasmin. So it's going to go over to Yasmin to speak again.
Hi again, y'all. Yeah, Toki is one of our amazing CHW council members. The CHW council is how we embed CHW leadership and everything that Envision does. And I believe that she'll be at Unity. So definitely come say hi to Toki. She's incredible. She is working out of Alabama right now and also does a lot of work with her local sickle cell chapter. So if that's something that you're passionate about, definitely get in touch with Toki or me, and I'll be happy to connect you. She'll be in that space, in the 2109 space of the community. So definitely you can see her posts and speak with her there. But me, I am also working with Toki in the CHW, CCR 2109 space, but also I'm really the host of the CHW Ally community on the platform. I'm also providing resources in the platform. So if you have any questions about resources or you have a topic in your mind and you want to go in there and say, hey, do you have any resources on this? I'll be the one to kind of help walk you through that and pull resources from our database. I'm pretty new formally to the CHW world, but I was raised by two Iranian immigrants. They both came over to the States during the 1979 revolution when they were teenagers. And then eventually everybody followed because they had to leave their home. And I grew up, my grandma never really learned how to speak English. And I grew up taking her to all her appointments and kind of helping her walk through the world. And so I think on a personal level, I saw the gaps in all of the systems that my grandma worked in and the way that she used her strength and, you know, who she was to navigate it despite all those challenges. And so I think I bring a lot of that story with me into this work, just having, you know, so much compassion and understanding of, you know, what it's like to kind of walk in a space that wasn't made for you and figure your way out. Like my parents didn't speak any English and they were teenagers and they came over and they worked in Round Table Pizza and figured their way and went to college. And, you know, it's a story that I'm sure is familiar to all of us. And I think if you witness that and you understand that, then it's a totally natural transition to come into community work the way that I've been honored to be able to do and really understand why we do it and why it's important. So yeah, I think I'm just really excited to see a bunch of you at Unity and to continue to do this work with you. And I think the platform is really special because it's not formal and it's really about human connection. And I think that, you know, we haven't had a space like that in a really long time. So I really hope that you go in there and share who you are and your stories and really use it as a space to make your own. It's a social space. So we'll definitely see you there.
Thank you all. And now we will pass it right on back to Erin, and she's going to walk us through how to join.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you so much, everybody. And I know you guys are so anxious to put the link in the chat. You know, when we Envision, we have to keep you on your toes. So bear with us. We're doing this for a reason, to help you with joining. Easy, quick. This is what we do. We support you all along the way. So with that being said, we've had a peek inside. We met our moderators, and we're just going to focus on how we're going to join today. There's only 5 easy steps. So we're going to outline them, and then we're going to drop that link in the chat. And then we are going to be here to support you, to add and walk you through. And if you have any questions, we are here to support. Next slide. So step 1, the first step is to go to the community site. Like I said, we will drop the link. You know, we have to make you be on your toes. The landing page is where you will request to join. And when you are, you'll ask to first review our guidelines. We ask you to do this first because on the step 4, which you'll see in a second, you'll be filling out a 4-question survey as part of the process. And in that survey, you are asked whether you've read the guidelines and agreed to them. So because we don't want you to have to back out to read them, we're just going to do them now. So you've already done that. So guess what? We're helping you all out right now. So that being said, let's go over the goals and guidelines. Next slide, thanks. The goals of this community, we kind of discussed it earlier. They're to offer a dedicated space for our CHWs to network, share, build community, and thrive. We want to defer to and respect CHW wants and needs for this space. And last but not least, encourage further support through the CHW Ally and our CCR 2109 recipient spaces. Our guidelines, we are definitely going to review the guidelines, and I know, bear with us, this is the laboring part, but we will have the easy part coming up really quickly. But we have 8 guidelines that we're going to review right now. So when you guys are joining, it'll speed up that process for you. We want to make sure that we review them in order for our community to be successful and on the same page. So to meet the collective goals of our community and to ensure that everyone has the best possible experience, our guidelines are as follows. We want to speak with care. We want to act with honesty and empathy. And we want to use each interaction to build our community. Number 2 is we are committed to creating that brave space for discussion. We want to take responsibility for the conversations we participate in. And if you learn that something you said was perceived as disrespectful or marginalizing, please pause to listen to and learn from that perspective before you react, and then reflect on how you could act in the future. I sound like I'm talking to my children, but you know we have to have these guidelines sometimes. Next slide, please. We want to, number 3, respect the privacy and personal wishes of our other community members. Number 4, reach out to our community moderators for support. And number 5, contact us directly with any feedback via the email we have here or on our website. So we've dropped our email a couple of times in the chat. We could do it again. And then on our website, they definitely have a link there to contact us directly. Slide, please. Thank you. So step 2, we're going to step 2. With that being said, this is the next part of joining. We are going to just click on request to join. When you get in there, you click on request to join. And then we can go to step 3. When you're prompted for step 3, you'll be prompted to set up an account. You need your name and an email address. If you want to include your pic, you could do that. You know, I love to see everybody's faces. We're all in boxes right now, so we would love to see a face with the name. Step 4, these are those 4 questions I told you guys about earlier. They're very simple. Are you a CHW, CHR, Promotor, or Torah? Number 2, are you a 2110, 2109 CDC, CCR funded? And if so, they definitely want you to designate the organization you're affiliated with in the drop-down box. Number 3, if you consider yourself a CHW ally. And last but not least is, have you read our community guidelines and do you agree to them? And guess what? I did that for you. So you can all automatically say yes if you're on this webinar, if you're watching it later on. And last but not least, step 5 is just submitting your request. All you have to do is just submit your request. Before you do so, you could definitely change your answers, anything that you want to set up with your account, you could do that so here, but then you would hit submit in order for you to be able to join the platform. Last but not least, we do have a setup where once you submit your request, we have to approve that. So it's not instantaneously you'll get in, but guess what? Today it will be, because we have people on standby waiting for you to join. We can go to the next slide, but when you get in, you'll get this cute little email or a response with all this confetti, and we definitely will be so excited to let you come in, and then you can actually add your information there. So once you're in, you can customize it the way you want to and all that good stuff, and then you can add to your different sections that Monique talked about earlier. You could join those different spaces. So Monique, what are the next steps that we need to take after joining?
All right, it is that time. So once you are joined in, you will see the welcome list. There's a checklist. So you'll see fill out your profile, introduce yourself, add a comment, start a chat, download the app, yes, the mobile app, adjust your notifications so you'll get notified when things are happening in there, and invite other CHWs, CHW allies, or recipients to join by sharing the link, which is myenvision.org. So there you have it. Yay! It is official. You are hot off the press information here. So it is myenvision.org. So, and always reach out via chat to one of the hosts or moderators if you encounter a problem, but we are here to help you make your My Envision experience the best it can be. So with that, let's do it. So we are going to take the next 10 minutes. You all can jump in there, see what you can see, reply to some stuff, say hey, send a smiley face, whatever you would like to do in these 10 minutes. And the team will be here to support you. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, come off mute if you need to, and we will definitely be there to support. All right, thank you so much for joining. We have, like, I think John said, over 100 people in there now. So my goodness, this is wonderful, so exciting. And don't forget to invite others. You will use that myenvision.org link. And you can share that, please, so those can come on and join us in our community here, our community platform. So now I will pass it back to Mangshi.
Thank you, Monique. Again, I want to thank the participants for joining us today. And I just hope to see you all again next month for our August webinar. So thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.